It's a brick. Okay, so hello again. I'm at work actually. I get pretty much a lot of downtime at work, and I am recording again because as you can see, I'm in the same sweater. I should take off my sweater. Hold on. Fix myself on camera. Is that okay? Yeah. Just a little bit. Not so okay, but it's good. So like I've been telling you guys that look at my face. If you see how my face looked 10 years ago, you wouldn't. There's no way that my face could look like this now. If I weren't being abused, if I stayed in myself and I weren't being abused and tormented and chastised by America, America's public and private. So for the past few days, I've been sleeping in my car. The reason for this, well, as I'm not sure if I briefed you guys, but I've been living with my brother since I think July of this year, because I went homeless again. My grandmother kicked me out of her house, and my aunt, actually, I was at her house. She agreed to let me stay at her house if I agreed to her terms and conditions of her house, and I said sure, and I did agree to them. And so one morning I got up. I did not hear the TV. The TV is always playing in the morning because she wakes up so early. It's about 5 o'clock in the morning she wakes up, and she prepare breakfast for her sons. She has two living sons left. My father and an uncle. Two uncles passed in Jamaica. Those were one was killed, one was shot brutally in the head, in the neck, and a few other places. He actually went to pick up goats. He was purchasing goats from someone that he knows, that he normally purchased from, I think. That's what they said. Or it was a new person. I don't recall the exact incident. It's too much to keep in mind. But when he went to pick up the goats and to exchange the money for the goats, there were a few men out in the same area pretending to be playing a game or something of that, and when he pulled up to the person to pick up the goats, they ran on him and shot him multiple times in his head, in his neck, all over his body. I say that because I keep getting calls and emails. I say that because throughout this 10-year tenure of this America chastisement, public abuse, public scrutiny, public watching, tormenting, harassing, stalking. My uncle was very supportive of me, even though he was not supportive of me coming to Jamaica. That's for sure, he was not. I asked him several times to let me come and stay with him. He was very hesitant and refused. He was not willing to let me stay with him there. And so I don't think anyone was. I guess for my safety, so I kind of understood. But up here, it was hell for me. So down there, it probably would have been hell too. Probably would have been hell for me and him. So I guess I gave him more time to live. But in 2019, when I started getting myself together, when I moved to my cousin's house, to my granduncle's house, I was in school and I was looking for a job, and my grandmother told me that my uncle was asking about me. He's always asking about me. And so she gave me his number, and I was a little bit hesitant. I didn't really want his number because I was fearful that something would happen to him. Anyone close to me, that something would happen to them. So I didn't really want to connect with anyone. But I took the number anyway, and I started communicating with him. I think after 2 weeks of talking to him, I got my first job I got a job at Home Depot. And prior to that, in 2017, when I applied to Home Depot, and I even fasted and prayed for a whole day, I went for the interview. I did great in the interview, and I got the job on the spot. And of course, some Spanish guy that worked there, Spanish sales worker, said, oh, if she's going to work here, I'm not going to work here. And then like the manager, the Spanish manager, was telling the store manager that he doesn't know what to do, and all of those things that they always think they know and they don't. And the store manager at the time was Caribbean. It was not Jamaican, but he was from a Caribbean island. And I thought I did good in the interview as well, because like I said, I fasted and prayed, and the words were just spitting out, all the right words were coming out during the interview. So, and he was very impressed. And it just so happened that I did not have my driver's license at the time, and my driver's license was not active. I needed to pay some kind of fee to reactivate it, and no one would help me to do that. So I could not produce my driver's license at the time of orientation as I thought. So, and I provided my passport, but the onboarding person did not know how to load my passport information, and she was very upset that I brought her passport instead of my driver's license. So I could not start. She told me to come back another time with my driver's license, and then she would put me in the system, and then I could start. But when I went back there, and I provided my passport again, because that's all I had, they said that they were not able to input the information in their system as they would like, because something was wrong with their system. So it was a lot of frustration. And then the position that I was hired for was not the position that that I applied for. So they wanted me to go into the system and apply for the position that I got hired for, so that they can change over. It was a lot of things that they required me to do and required of me, and I thought I did the best that I could, because I know that you can get hired and use your passport and your social security for onboarding. So I didn't have my driver's license, or I could use like a state ID, but there was a lot of confusion. And when they wanted me to come, my grandmother would not take me the day that they wanted me to come. She was taking me a different day. So it was a lot, and they were asking, do you drive? Do you this? Do you that? Because, they don't want people to Uber to work and then are late because of the Uber, because of Uber. So it was a lot of, it was a lot, and nothing became of that job. So when I got hired in 2019, I was very excited. And it was a different location. But I was very excited, and then like maybe 2 weeks after that, I got another job, this job that I returned to. So I'm very blessed to have this job. I feel very happy that I have this job. And so Um, so, and I had the Home Depot job for a while too. Um, and I was staying at my grand uncle's, like I said, and I was having some issues there with my cousin's daughter. She kept using the voodoo to abuse me at night. It's like the little girl was only like maybe 10 or 11, but my cousin taught her the voodoo, and she was just using it on me at night. It would be like 11 o'clock at night. I would feel this pinching on my body, and she would be talking to me through it. Her room was right above me. I was staying in my cousin's room in the basement. Every single night it was torment. I didn't know how to deal with it. I would yell and scream at them, but they paid no attention to it. They just kept doing it. And my yelling and screaming made no difference to the people in the house. They just pretended that they didn't hear it. So that was that was my normalcy at that house. And I had to survive it because I had nowhere to live. And I did not want to go to a homeless shelter because like I said, I worked for the government. My name was already out there in a negative way. And for what reason, I have no idea. And those people that are in homeless shelters, most of them are criminals. They have some kind of record or something. And they have they're in the system for something. So I didn't want to go there and have to deal with that, and then I had the fear that, maybe someone that I worked with, one of the staff, maybe someone that I worked with in the past. So that was an issue too. It was a big issue. So I decided to stick it out there. And 2000, I went to my cousin's house in 2016, I think about August 2016. And then I stayed there for the year and went to school. I went to Keene University for a year. When I started Keene, it was very abusive there too about this girl, Neva Roxanne. And so I was being abused severely there. For what reason, I have no idea. Because when I got there, a lady told me how I could get money to purchase my books. And so I went to the office that she directed me to, and some Asian guy came up and started harassing me about this girl. So I reported him, like, you can't do that to me. That's my mind, and I need my mind, and that's harassment. I'm not going to be in a school and be harassed by any staff, So I reported it, and all of a sudden I'm being abused everywhere on campus for this girl. By every population, literally. I think the only people I didn't abuse were the Indians at the time, and at that time, yeah. But they had their own abuse coming, and they did their own thing prior. So believe me, they're not an exception. So so that happened, and so 2017, I decided to go to the hospital, the county hospital. To get away from the abuse from my cousin's daughter and my grand uncle's house. And I stayed there for a year and a half in the hospital. And it's very peaceful there, even though it's very strict, very restricted, and all of those things. It was like survival for me. I didn't really want to stay there, to be quite honest, but I toughed it out and I stayed, to recover my mind. And so when I left there in 2018, I went back to my cousin's because against my best wishes, of course. And the staff at the hospital were concerned about that too, going back into that environment, into that same environment. But somewhere, somehow, I felt stable enough, stable to can handle myself there. So when I went back, I was already in school because I started back school when I was in the hospital, and they allowed me to do that. They allowed me to go back to school, and stay in the hospital until I was discharged. So I did that for a few months, I think September to November, or the end of October. So for a few months I did that, and then I moved back to my cousins. And I guess they were, I figured they wouldn't bother me for, a while because I'm coming from the hospital. So, and they didn't, and so I was thankful for that. But then in 2019, You know, I got fearful in the summer because I had nothing to do. So I got an internship actually. I was so thankful. So at least I had somewhere to go during the day. Instead of being in the house with them all day and have nowhere to go, no money to go anywhere, and nowhere to go, no money to go anywhere, and no vehicle, no transportation to go anywhere. So that so you know, when I got the internship, I was very excited. I was very thankful. So I did that, and then I got the jobs. Thank you, Jesus. And then I worked and I saved and all of that stuff. Um, so I'm recording this because you know, I'm keeping you guys updated. I started recording because I had a lot to say, and now I can't even remember anything that I had to do. But like I was saying, my uncle, that's what I was saying. I was saying that my uncle, see, I'm doing all of these finger and hand gesture things. Not me at all. Because I'm so smashed in. My whole behavior, my attitude, everything about me has changed a lot. But I'm surviving, and I don't like it at all. Because life is not survival. Life is very peaceful and calm and tranquil and loving and thoughtful and caring and you know, so when I started speaking to my uncle, you know, like I said, within 2 weeks I got the first job at Home Depot, and then I got a job working here, and then I was still in school, so I was finishing up my last year of school, and you know, all of 2019, excuse me, and 2018 I worked too, but I worked at the school. I did not have a regular job. So 2019 I got the 2 regular jobs, part-time, not full-time jobs. Both were part-time, and then I worked at and then I went to school. I kept in school. I stayed in school, and then I got another internship in September of 2019. And so I was doing school. I was doing the 2 part-time jobs, and I was doing the internship. So I was pretty busy. So that kept me out of their way. And then that was 2019. And then so 2020 came, and I went to the Bahamas December of 2019 with my daughter. It's something that I've always wanted to do. I wanted to do like a getaway with her for Christmas, but I couldn't, you know, do the proper getaway where you actually go away for Christmas Day and all of that stuff, because I wanted her to go back to her grandparents so that she can be with them for Christmas, because that's what she knows. She's used to being with them because they're the ones that she lived with. So I did that with her. It was just me and my daughter. We went to the yoga retreat. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I experienced a little bit of discrimination there. Just one person went out of place, of course. Someone had to do something. So I did experience that. But it wasn't anything like, I can't say it was anything, you know, major. It was just like a little, like, ew, whatever, you know, why did you say that? You know, but some people don't know how to hold their mouths. It was majority, for the most part, like, we enjoyed our time. It was a very good, relaxed time, and it was good for me because I was by myself as an adult with a child, you know, so, and it was safe. So there. And so January now, I went back to school. It was like the day after Martin Luther King, and classes started, and I was at work, and I was, you know, just on my downtime, and I thought, oh, how nice would it be to post pictures of my daughter at the this crazy hotel in that we visited in the Bahamas. So I posted 2 pictures. I wasn't sure which one, you know, to keep, but I figured that's nice. Give me a minute. Okay.
You want to wait here?
No, you can wait upstairs. Thank you. So yeah. So so what happened? So I posted the two pictures, and I was just looking on the internet, and I thought I glimpsed uh, a basketball player. And I thought, oh, that's nice, you know, but I didn't pay it any attention because I really don't keep up with sports. And like I said, I was so busy anyway with other things. I didn't know what's going on in the world, to be quite honest. So anyway, had an incident. I posted both pictures, and like a few days later, I heard about the person passing, and I was so surprised because I wouldn't expect that. But anyway, fast forward, it was a few days later after like I was at school looking for homes to buy, a home to buy, like a condo, or you know, a small single family house, or you know, something like that. And I actually called my mom to speak to my daughter, and my daughter came on the phone and said, "Oh, uncle is dead." And I thought she was joking because she's a jokester. I mean, she will say things, you know, and you don't know if she's playing or what's going on. And, you know, she's she's very smart, and she's very clever. So, so, so she's very clever. So, um, so I said, "What? Why are you joking with me? You know, why are you saying that to me?" And she said, "No, I'm telling the truth. We got them call. We got a call today, and someone shot him in the head." And I really thought she was joking. And then I said, "Don't play, Abby. That's not nice. Don't say those things about anyone." And she said, "No, I'm not playing, mommy. They really said that. They really called and said that." So I called my gram, and she said, "Yes, it's true. It happened a few hours ago." And it was very devastating for me. I could not believe it. I didn't understand why. You know, what would possess anyone to do that? And like I said, I was in a very big setup that I wasn't sure about, and I wasn't, and I, even though it was there, I wasn't paying any attention to it. I wasn't paying it any attention, and I just, you know, I just blanked it out and just kept focused on my own affairs. And no one in public was really bothering me. I mean, maybe they were watching, but they weren't harassing or talking to me or stalking me like what's happening now, what's been happening for the past 2.5 years. So only the school, really, the kids at school, but they're not kids, they're adults because they're in college. But it was very bad. When I received when I spoke to my gram and she confirmed that it was true, I couldn't believe it. Actually, it was just numbing emotion. And you know, from then my life started turning down. I don't know. And it hasn't gotten better. It's only getting worse and worse every day. And August of the same year, August of 2000, that was January of 2020. And then August 2020, my grandmother called me and told me that my other uncle, he was in a mental house or a mental institution, just a house, one of those mental house in Jamaica. And the lady was taking care of him, she thought, but he had to be rushed to the hospital for something twisted in his stomach, so he had to receive surgery. And so she called and she told me about it, and you know, she asked me to pray, and I did. I prayed. You know, I asked God to please bring him through the surgery. But a few days later, he came out of the surgery, and the surgery went well. So I was very thankful, and I was very happy, and I was like, okay, so it's over. You know, God answered my prayer. But then a few days later, I received a call that my uncle passed. Apparently, there was some infection from the surgery. And I don't know if he touched something, or, you know, if they did something wrong, or I don't know. But know if I can forgive God, because I prayed and I asked God to bring him through safely. I mean, the surgery wasn't finished, you know. It's only finished when he's cleared, when he's out of the hospital. And I felt like, why was my prayer not answered? You know, I prayed and I asked God, and he didn't answer. He only answered partially. You know, so I still have those resentment, you know, for God. And like I said, it's just been downfall since. Like, I moved out of my cousin's house in, I would want to say April. Yes, April. Like the 5th of April. And then I moved to the ghetto, like a real bad part of Irvington, in the same community where my granduncle lived, but a bad part. So where they live is the good part, and then there's the bad part. And I lived there for 2 months, and then I moved to the suburb, but I thought it was an upscale suburb. And that's where all of the problems started. At June 1st, I moved there. And that's when I started being abused heavily by Spanish men, mostly. And then the women took on the emotions and the actions of the men and started abusing me too, harshly. And then white women joined, but they were doing it from their cars, doing voodoo from their cars. That was very disturbing. And then the job that I picked up, some part-time gig on the weekends, they were very abusive there too. So it was a lot. And then when I would start to drive home, like the police were talking about they remember me, and you know, like trying to start up this whole harassment thing again with me. But people in communities as I drove by were not having it, so they really couldn't do much to me. So because I wasn't speeding and I wasn't doing anything, they were just harassing me from them watching me, you know. And so, you know, like I said, from my uncle passed, I went to church. When I found out, the next day I went by my gram and you know, hung out with her for a few hours, and then I went to a psychic, actually, whatever they're called, one of those people that read palms and stuff. And I actually paid them to find out what happened to my uncle. And then they told me that some bad people killed him. And then the lady had the nerve to tell me that the same thing is gonna happen to me. And at first I was like, you gotta take that off me. And then she changed the words and stuff. And then she was telling me, oh, you need to read your Bible, pray, and all of that stuff. Don't worry about it. You don't need, you know, any voodoo. I was telling her, give me the voodoo so I can protect myself. She was telling me I didn't need it. And yeah, okay, that was in January. And so after I left her, she wanted to cleanse me with something. I paid her $100 and something. I was like, no. You know, I don't really believe in those things, especially the whole cleansing, all of that stuff. You know, that's just cause from turmoil in your life. But constant turmoil in your life. But nothing is worse than what I've been going through for the past 2.5 years. So maybe would have been worth it. And then, you know what, maybe I would have thought that, you know, if I hadn't done it, then those negative things that would happen to me in life, because, you know, negative things do happen to people in life, that they wouldn't happen to me. So there it is, you know. But then right after I did that, I went to church. My church was right around the corner in the same community. And it was an African church. It is an African church. And the people were in there cleaning, so I went there. The lady was hesitant. She didn't really want to pray with me. But then the Spanish guy approached her and told her, oh, you need to pray for her or whatever. So the lady prayed with me and the guy. And then he was asking me, oh, what happened and all of those things. So I was trying to explain to him. And then I think I told the guy that, you know, about my hospital and all of those things. And then the guy took it upon himself to start looking at me a different way. And that's how things started. The setup for my independence. To take my independent life away from me, which it has. So I'll speak to you guys another time. I don't want to waste any more of your time because this is a lot. And like I said, it's going to be piece by piece over a very long period of time. So I said that I would post these things because I'm asking for help. Because I'm asking for help from the church that I grew up in the United States. They're praying down my life. My cousin is praying down my life. and a lot of things are happening. So I'm asking for help because I need these things out of my life because I have a child and I need to protect her. And this is really happening to me. So I hope that you guys are getting some understanding of where this whole build-up for this 2.5 year abuse started, and how it came to full fruition. So this level of intense chastisement by America, not just by one group, but by many groups, just about everyone in America. And I'm just hoping that you will hear my cry and help me resolve this issue, and help me get back my life from America and these people who are doing this to it. Thank you. I love you guys.